Tony Starlight.
Tom D'Antoni.
Oh.
Oregon Music News.
There you go. All right, so it's your 5th anniversary. Tell me about your 5th anniversary show.
Well, there's going to be 2 of them. Friday, I'm doing a show with my usual trio, Reese Marshburn on piano, Art Gowrock on bass, and Sam Folger on drums. But I have 2 special guests, or 3 special guests. One will be Bo Ayers, will be sitting in playing some keyboard parts. And then I also have my 2 favorite singers, Barbara Ayers from Signatures, and who's been in the club here a long time singing as part of my Neil Diamond show, my AM Gold 70 show. And they have a workshop here. I love singing with Barbara. And then Carla Harris, who's leaving town.
Oh.
And Carla's been just one of my absolute favorites since I came back to Portland. And when I found out she's leaving in March, I'm like, we've got to sing together one more time. So she's been a frequent guest of my show, and she's been with her own different groups and performing by herself here and, of course, all around town. I'm very excited to get to sing with her, but I'm disappointed that it's the last time.
And what will you be doing?
You know, on the agenda today is to figure that out. That's part of the trademark of the Tony Starlight Show, and I guess people that have to work with me have to be able to get about a half hour's notice about what we're doing. And in some case, on stage, that'll all change. We just did sort of the best of the Tony Starlight Show, so that was just picking from 20 years of Tony Starlight Show from back in the early days to now. What the anniversary show will then be picking from, I think, the best moments here at the club. And of course, I told you there were 2 nights. The second night, by the way, is me singing with that same trio plus 4 horns. And so that night will be all things like your Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, plus Bobby Darin, Tom Jones, Tony Bennett. We'll even do a little Neil Diamond. We always do a little Neil Diamond. But all things that are arranged for that size band. And kind of a little bit like when we do our Copacabana tribute, which is our tribute to the great nightclub, the Copacabana. But that show will be easier to pick from because I only have so many septet charts. But I have got a million trio charts. And so what we'll probably do on the anniversary show is then also let the audience sort of pick. A lot of people that are coming already that I know are people who've been here for a long time coming. And my band knows the stuff. What do you guys want to hear? There'll probably be a couple things for that, a couple chances to request. But requests always have to be filtered through me, and I might just say no thank you, which happens frequently. It's funny when you ask somebody for a request something that we do, and they'll say David Bowie, and it's like I've never done David Bowie in my life, so you obviously don't know what I do. So, but I find a nice way to say no, and but I will have something planned out because the other 2 ladies that are singing with me kind of need to know what we're going to do, and of course we're going to do some duets and songs together. Carla. I forced Carla to be Patti LaBelle to my Michael McDonald so we can do On My Own. And I'm just not quite up to that raspy voice yet, but I've got to work on that because she can bring it. She can bring the Patti LaBelle side. It's a little beneath her to do that 80s kind of garbage, but we like to entertain.
Well, I have to say, you have taken a location that was noted for its failures.
Correct.
Many clubs. It was even an Atkins Diet restaurant.
Uncle Butchie's Low Carb Creations?
Yes.
How did that fail?
Well, and you've made it an institution.
Well, sheer desire and will, and a lot of good fortune. Surrounded myself with extremely talented people. And so one of my favorite, I'm a big old radio buff, and I love the Jack Benny Show. It's the greatest of the old radio comedy shows. And he surrounded himself with all of the best actors. He had Mel Blanc as just doing sound effects. I mean, Mel Blanc wound up being, the huge voice of Bugs Bunny and all the Looney Tunes stuff. And, Dennis Day and Phil Harris and Rochester, Eddie Anderson. And he allowed himself to be the butt of the joke, too, sometimes. But it's still the Jack Benny Show. They had this tremendous cast. They never worried about upstaging him. And so I've always tried to get the most talented people that I can find to share the stage with me, and then of course when they have their own nights here, and try to give them a chance to shine and try to be different from some of the other clubs, not necessarily better or worse, but just different. That Tony Starlight's, you can expect something that you might not get at another place, and so if you want what we're offering, then you can count on what we're offering. You know, so that's sort of been the model, and I think well, obviously it's worked because we're here 5 years later. So,
Well, 5 years later, there must have been something strange, unusual, funny, or that comes to mind.
no.
Oh,
Nothing unusual
Okay.
in 5 years.
Oh,
Although a
dear.
lot of my staff believes we're haunted here and will not
Really?
be in here alone. I'm not afraid of no ghosts, so we're in here alone right now, pretty much.
yeah.
But yeah, the lady who does my decorating and the bartender will not be in here alone because they've heard footsteps up and down the back hallway.
Must be somebody who died from being on the Atkins diet.
There have been a lot of people at least unhappy from being on that diet. I don't know, there's a lot of weird things that happened in this building, and I had a customer who paid for a feng shui person to come here and get all the bad energy out because she felt this energy, and this had been so many failed places. So who's to say whether or not that's what did it or not? This person, of course, found all these, things, but that's what they do. They find these things that they need to eradicate. So they did a good job. There have been some amazing moments. For me, the amazing moments really result around watching the arc of people who are performers become better. Because this club is designed around the performances being the centerpiece. And a lot of times singing and playing, you're not the center, you are a background to another scene going on. So it's hard to learn those skills of being a really skilled entertainer unless people are listening to you. And so since that's sort of been what's happened here, I've seen so many artists who have really developed their skills as entertainers because they have an attentive audience. And they've got a club and a club owner who's putting a spotlight on them, trying to give them the best sound and circumstances in which to succeed at that, and then running with that, and people that just get better and better and better. And to me, that's been the most satisfying thing of the club. And for me to be able to just do whatever I want has been a thrill, because when I was in LA doing comedy, there were so many times there was a director between me and an audience. And the director had to decide what was going to go in the show, and the director had to decide how I would perform it. And I didn't always think that they were that they knew as much about what an audience wanted as I did. So,
Well, for the shows coming up, can you give us a little kind of a laundry list of the people you will transform yourself into?
there'll definitely be some Tom Jones. I'm slimming down as we speak to try to fit into the pants. There's definitely going to be some Neil Diamond. And I'm coming up with some new ideas for how to do the Neil Diamond character with his 71st birthday around the corner. Coming up with some exciting new ideas.
What is your favorite Neil Diamond song?
My favorite's Holly Holy. It's my favorite one to perform. But I think my favorite one to just listen to is I Am, I Said. I love that song, and there's so many good memories of that as a kid. I guess it's probably the biggest misconception about what Tony Starlight's is or has evolved into is, we're not just a place for standards and Frank Sinatra type stuff.
You've got indie jazz in here.
We've
You've got
moved,
Andrew Oliver's
we've
of the
moved
world.
along
Yeah.
to some different kinds of things. Whatever we feel like will entertain an audience. I mean, our Neil Diamond show is the most consistently popular thing we have. The AM Gold Soft Rock 70s show, which is basically, if you think about it, all the 70s music that doesn't have an electric guitar in it, has been remarkably well received. Once people get past the barrier of believing they don't like 70s soft rock, they do. They won't admit it, but they can't stop singing along to Billy Joel, Elton John, Carole King, Paul Simon.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the soundtrack to a lot of people's lives, you know? And so we've sort of moved into that nostalgia. I don't think we're going to go further into the 80s because it's just awful.
Well, happy birthday, many more.
Thank you, Tom.